Friends, this question from Quiz1 software testing October 27, 2024. So consider the three coverage criteria C1, C2, C3. So that is, there are three coverage criteria C1, C2 and C3. So what are the different types of coverage criteria? For example, node coverage, edge coverage, edge pair coverage, prime path coverage. Okay, different type of coverages are there. For example, we consider anyone. Okay, C1, C2, C3. These are the C1, C2, C3 are different type of coverage criteria. Also consider the test requirements. So the test requirement for C1 is T1 and C2 is T2 and C3 is T3. These are the test requirements. And so T1 satisfies the C1. T1 satisfies the C1. That is T1 satisfies yes the C1 and T2 satisfies the C2. That is T2 satisfies the coverage criteria C2. In the same way, T3 satisfies the coverage criteria C3. That is code base is same. On the same code base, okay, if the C3 subsumes C2 and C2 subsumes C1, subsumes SS, we consider a graph like this. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. This is small control flow graph. So how many nodes are there? That is 1, 2, 3 and 4. This is the node coverage, right? Node coverage. For example, there are list of test paths. This is node coverage. Node coverage means, so there are two test paths, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 and 1, 2, 4. There are two test paths. These two test paths will cover the node coverage, right? Node coverage. And these two test paths also covers the edge coverage, right? Edge pair coverage. There are two edge pairs, 1, 2, 3 edge pair coverage. That is, edge pair coverage subsumes node coverage. That is, if we cover the edge pair coverage, node coverage is also possible, right? 1, 2, 3, 4 nodes are covered. This is called the subsumes. Subsumes means covered. If we cover the node pair coverage, node cover is also completed. So that means subsumes. This is related to subsumes. Statements that are correct about the scenario. Example, A subsumes B. So A has a test suite and B also has a test suite, right? So A subsumes B means the test suite A also satisfy the guarantee, pakka, compulsorily satisfy the test suite for B also. That means A subsumes B means the test requirement for A also subsumes the test requirement for B. Okay. In the same way, C3 subsumes C2. For C3, test requirement is T3, right? And for T1. In the same way, it satisfies C3, right? It given. T3 satisfies C3 in this equation. T3 satisfies C3. So it satisfies the C2 and C1 also. C2 and C1. That is, the test requirements for C2 is T2 and C1, right? In the same way, if the A subsumes B means test requirement A also guarantees, that is, it satisfies, guarantees or satisfies the test requirement for B also. In the same way, the test requirement for T3 also satisfies the test requirements for T2. T3 also satisfies the test requirement for T3, right? T1, sorry, T1. This is T1, right? T1. We consider these two. For example, we consider C2. C2 subsumes C1. That means the test requirement T2 that satisfies the test requirement for T1 is the test requirement for T1. That is T2 satisfies the necessarily satisfies the T1, right? T3 will satisfy T2 and T1 both, and T2 will satisfy T1. So from the option, T1 will necessarily satisfy T2, not T1, because C1 does not subsume. C1 subsumes C2 that times. So the test requirements for C1 is T1, test requirements for C2 is T2, both are satisfies, and T1 pakka compulsorily guaranteed to satisfy the T2. But here not C1 subsumes C2, C2 subsumes C1, C2 subsumes C1, that is C1 is weaker and C3 is stronger. This one is stronger because it can subsume this coverage criteria. C3 coverage criteria is stronger coverage criteria. C3 is stronger coverage criteria, CC, because it subsumes C2 and C1 also. Because of this, the first option is not correct. T1 will necessarily satisfy T2, wrong. T2 will necessarily satisfy T1, this is correct. C2 is stronger than C1, so this option is correct. This is T2 is satisfies the T1, this option is correct. And T2 will necessarily satisfy. So T2 does not, C2 does not subsume C3, C3 subsumes C2. Okay, please don't confuse. C3 subsumes C2 subsumes C1, that is T1, T2 and T3. So T3 subsumes both, right? So that is T1 necessarily satisfy T2, T1 necessarily satisfy T3. So from this T2 and T3, T2 subsumes C1, subsumes. So because of this will necessarily satisfy T3, necessarily satisfy. This is the correct block, you can remember. Okay, so option C is wrong, option D is right. T3 will necessarily satisfy T1. Okay, these two are also correct. Friends, if you like my videos, please like and subscribe my channel, and thank you for watching.